Hi my lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sharon. I am 62 and almost a half years old, and on this channel we talk about all things money, budgeting, food shopping hauls, and lots of recipes thrown in for good measure. So if that's the kind of thing that you're into, I would love to have you join me on my journey as I navigate what to me has been for the last almost 2.5 years a completely new way of life financially. So I moved out of the marital home in January of 2023 and moved into this rented property on my own. So things changed for me drastically. And I have had to obviously budget, and yeah, like lots of us these days. Lots of you might just be budgeting because of the cost of living, or it could be that you're in a position like myself where you've had a change of circumstance, either planned or sudden, and you've had to make adjustments to how you live. So thank you for your comments on last Sunday's video. So I tend to do a bit of a chatty one on a Sunday. And I'd sort of written the notes up for that video weeks beforehand because the idea kind of came into my head. And then when I'd actually sat down and filmed it, I felt a little bit uncomfortable about it. I don't know why. And I was hesitant about publishing it. And in the end, I had to do so because I literally had nothing else to go out and no time to film anything else. Because time, yeah, where does it go? You know, I work, I don't have copious amounts of time. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, as you guys have seen. A lot of time up Sainsbury's searching for yellow sticker bargains as well. So yeah, I put it out, and yeah, I was really pleased with the response that I got from you guys. So thank you for that. The other reason I'm really pleased that I did put it out there is because it got me thinking about a few things. And I'm going to cover some of those today and maybe a couple more next Sunday. So the first thing I want to talk about, I think, is sinking funds. So I have exactly the same sinking fund set up that I had in my, let's say, previous life. So my sinking funds still have exactly the same titles. So I still have one for hair because I get my hair done every 6 to 8 weeks. That is to get my roots done and a trim. I have a sinking fund which is called self-care, and that one covers makeup, skincare, but also a lot of personal products that I tend to pick up in either Boots or Savers. So shower gel, toothpaste, mouthwash, shampoo, conditioner, antihistamine tablets that I take every day. That all comes out of my self-care fund. I don't put those kinds of things into my supermarket shopping trolley. I might occasionally grab some toothpaste if it's on offer in Sainsbury's, and I do buy my toothbrushes in there because I think they're only about £1. But other than that, everything comes out of the self-care fund. Then I have a socialising sinking fund, and I don't do a lot of socialising. It will be an occasional coffee with a friend. It will be an occasional lunch with a friend, or, you know, as at the end of April, I'm invited to a 50th birthday party. I think I bought one gin and tonic, which came out of my socialising fund. I was lucky that my next 2 drinks were bought for me, and that was enough for me for the evening. So the socialising one, and also at the end of last month, I bought a theatre ticket So me and my friend Sharon from Living on a Low Income. No, that's me. Living on a part-time income is the other Sharon. We had planned many months ago to go and see The Devil Wears Prada at the cinema. And then we looked at the prices and decided it would have to be a matinee performance, which is better for me anyway because of the long journey home. So yeah, I bought a theatre ticket. So that kind of thing will come out of my socialising fund. Then I have a holiday fund, and I've mentioned before over here that I do save some money each month towards a possible holiday. And I've also think I've told you that I am extremely lucky that I have a friend with a place in Spain that I've been to. I have friends who live in Kos, and I've gone to stay with them and possibly doing the same this summer. Hey, Nick and Dave. And who else do I know that's... Oh, yeah, I know somebody who rents out a place in the Canaries and they only charge £35 a night. So I'm quite lucky that I've got a few places and a few people that I can go and stay with and have a fairly budget-friendly holiday. And I know that if, you know, you're a family and you've got kids and you've got to go away in the school holidays, you know, it's not easy to go away on the cheap if you're looking at having a holiday. I do appreciate that not everybody can do that. And then aside from my holiday sinking fund, I think I also mentioned to you many times before probably that I had a free apartment last September. My daughter had booked and paid for it and then decided to stay in a hotel rather than the apartment. So that was gifted to me, and that was amazing. Yeah, loved it. It was a great week. Well, it wasn't a week actually, because that brings me on to another way that I saved money on that. I didn't fly out when my daughter flew out. I flew out 2 days later because the price difference was considerable in the cost of flights. So I missed out on 2 days, but it didn't feel like it when I was there. So yeah, there's the holiday one, and then I have clothing. So usually with my clothing sinking fund, the money that goes in there will be money from items that I've sold on Vinted or a Facebook group or something like that. So previously in my other life, it wouldn't have been that way. I would have just put money in that every month, but now it's only money from things that I've already sold, and I've got lots to sell because I have put on weight, and basically I can fit into hardly any of my clothes, so I have got a lot to sell. I'm living my winter uniform of t-shirts and leggings and a cardigan. Obviously now the weather's getting better, I've got a couple of dresses like this one that I would just wear when I'm working from home. Super comfortable. Doesn't matter if you know, spill a bit of bleach down it, who cares? But dresses for actually wearing it out during the daytime, or, you know, if I was, going on a day out or maybe out in the evening in the summer, nothing like that fits anymore. So I definitely, desperately need some new bits. So whether they're secondhand from Vinted or there's a couple of new purchases in there, that will remain to be seen because I have to start selling some stuff first. I do have £52 already left over from a couple of jackets I sold back in March, I believe it was, and I bought one t-shirt off of Vinted for £1.50, which was £2.28 with the postage and fees, and the balance is still remaining. So yeah, we need to build on that. So then obviously I got a bit of a slight pay rise, not a great deal, and a couple of bills went up, so that took away some of that money. And then I mentioned on here about having a home sinking fund because I'm desperate for a rug in the living room here. So yeah, that was a consideration. But after I'd put that video out last week, I think I almost felt as if my pots sound very indulgent or materialistic. I don't know, it was just a weird vibe that I got after I put that video out. And do you know what I think it is? I think it's because I've got no savings, zilch, no emergency fund, zilch. And I think that that's basically what it was, or what it is. But of course, you can only stretch the money that you've got left over, which I call disposable income, what is left after you've paid your rent or your mortgage, whatever it is for you, after you've paid your, your fixed expenses, all your bills and your variables. And it's what you've got left with then that I then carve up into those sinking funds. But yeah, I almost feel like I really need to rethink. And I need to think about the future, because quite frankly, the thought of working another 5 years is not only daunting, but it's horrifying to think that women now, that most women my age that thought for most of their adult life they would be retiring at the age of 60, and they're now still having to work to the age of 67, like myself. I mean, it's a huge blow, isn't it? Not everybody, but certainly for me. I've got kids, I've got grandkids. I want to spend as much time with those people as I possibly can, making memories whilst I'm here, and enjoying my family as much as I can. But yeah, when you're working, and it's not quite so easy to do that. And sometimes you finish work. Some days I finish work and think, oh, I could go up my daughter's, but I'm knackered. I'm too tired to actually walk there today. So as awful as that sounds, that is the fact of the matter. So that video made me think about those sinking funds. It made me think about the things I'm lacking, because I'm giving out that advice to my younger self and also to women of any age, because at any age you don't know what's going to happen. Did I know at the age of 60 that I would turn 60 mid-December, and the end of January, the following month, I would then be moved out into a whole new way of life on my own, and it does happen to people. It does happen. So you need to be prepared for that. And I need to be prepared for a time when I'm not working, but also there's that massive part of me that doesn't want to work to that age. And I thought after that video went out, thinking about the sinking funds, not having any savings to fall back on for anything at all, it just got me thinking, I don't want to work till I'm 67. I want to retire at the latest at 65. So shall we set that goal? How are we going to navigate that? How are we going to prepare for that without any extra money to save for retirement? I don't know. But it did, of course, get me thinking about my YouTube channel, which, as you guys will know, became eligible for monetization probably about mid-April. And there's quite a process to go through with Google and AdSense. You have to link the two accounts together for a start. Once you've done that, you have to put in a form of ID. Once that's verified, you have to wait for a PIN number to be sent to your home to prove that is where you live. Then once you've got that PIN number, you have to put that in. And then only when you've done that can you then add your bank details. And then you've got to sit and wait for Google to send you a small amount of money. And once that's been paid into your account, you then have to go online and type in how much that amount is that they've sent you. Well, I'm still waiting for that amount of money to be put into my bank, and it's over a week at the moment. So we are over a month into monetisation, and that process still isn't complete. Of course, it might be quicker for other people. I don't know, but that's how it's been for me. Just in case you're in that position, just so you know, or you know for the future reference, if you're going to start a channel or you're building up a channel at the moment. And if you are, let me know in the comments, because I like to follow people back that follow me. So yeah, I've got all these things going around in my head at the moment, and I'm just sitting here waffling and sharing all of those thoughts and feelings with you. So, of course, the pension, retirement stuff that was going on in my head that led on from not having savings, not having emergency funds in my sinking fund, digital pots, then I thought to myself, right, so I'm going to go online and I am going to have a look at my projected state pension. Do you think I could do that? No, of course I couldn't. So I ended up wanting to throw the phone across the room, because basically I couldn't remember my passwords. And then if that's the case, they ask you a series of questions, which are all really weird. When did you last open a current account? And then you have options, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years. A mobile phone contract is another one. I can't remember the others, but I just put in what I thought. No, sorry, we don't recognise you. So that was that. So I couldn't get on the government gateway. So I don't know how I'm going to do that, to have a look at what my projected state pension is, because once it sort of threw me out because it didn't recognise me. There didn't seem to be any other option where you could ring somebody, or that was that. And then I gave up. And yeah, that was a bit disastrous. So I then went on to have a look at my current pension. So again, the video made me do these things that I wouldn't have done otherwise. So I had a look at the pension that I've got right now with my current employer, and I've worked for this company. It was 3 years in February just gone. So I went on to take a little look, and I took some photos. So my current fund value is £3,652.46. So I thought, not a lot, is it? I don't know what I expected. And I think this is maturing at 60, well, not maturing, but, you know, up to the age of 65. Yeah, I thought, well, that's not a lot, is it? And then it said, the figures below show what your pension may be worth at retirement. And this is estimated, low, medium and high. So let's look at the medium figures. So the medium is £7,710. Then it tells you what your estimated yearly income is. So again, we look at medium, £538, which I think worked out to £44.83. So yeah, it's not a lot, is it? Not a lot. Somebody did comment that, I feel like I've gone off at a tangent here. Somebody did comment saying that if you do live in rented accommodation, because I was worried about living in rented accommodation when the time comes to be drawing a state pension, but apparently you can apply for housing benefit. So that's something, because I looked that up and I couldn't find any information about that on my local council's website. But yeah, so getting back to the YouTube channel. So today we have got, you have to have earned £60 before they pay you. So at the moment I'm on £65.29p according to YouTube Studio. So that should, hopefully I'll get that small amount in my bank very soon. And then what would happen is whatever I'd earn in May, I believe from other YouTubers that I've watched, you get that money at the end of the following month. So it would be the end of June. But 65.29. I never thought I would earn a penny. So I know to some of you it may not sound a lot. There are YouTubers that I watch that haven't been around much longer than me or much less than me that have grown massively and very, very quickly as well. So I started, and my first video went up at the very, very end of January, and we're almost at the end of May. I mean, I can't believe that I've even been doing this for 4 months, but I certainly, personally, never dreamed that 1,000 people would be tuning in, subscribing, and getting me to a point where I could be monetized. I honestly thought I'd be lucky if a couple of hundred people watched. This was more about my journey, keeping myself accountable. But also the other thing that's come from this is the fabulous advice that I get from you guys in the comments, which is invaluable and very, very much appreciated. So, you know, there's lots of good things, not just the money, that come from this channel, all of which, as I say, I appreciate immensely. So, yeah, how will this grow? How will this channel grow, if it grows at all? Bear in mind, there are no guarantees with anything. But if it were to grow, and I were to earn a little bit more money from it, then, you know, maybe it's time to start thinking about saving for retirement. I have mentioned that I would do what I've seen another YouTuber do, which I think they tend to put away 20% straight away for tax, 15% to charity. I've already got one charity written down, which somebody mentioned in the comments, because I did say I wanted to be led by you guys. There are some things that are close to my heart, but I do on occasion going forward also want to be able to support things that are important to you guys as well. Because it's only because of you that I'd ever be earning anything. So yeah, so those are the things. I mean, I've been talking for 22 minutes, so I better kind of shut it down now. But last Sunday's video got me thinking about my sinking funds and the lack of the ones that I should have, and how the ones that I've got feel a little bit indulgent when there is no emergency fund and there's no savings. And then thinking about, could I possibly retire earlier than planned? Let's have a look. What have I got here, there and everywhere? And also there's that £500 that I found from that job that I had just had for a year and lost in COVID. There's that £500, but that's stocks and shares. It may have gone down. We've had the whole America thing since then, so who knows? I'd need to ring them up again to find that out. But yeah, lots to think about, I think, for the future. Whereas usually I'm just living day to day, week to week, and trying not to think about what will become of me at the age of 65, 67. You know, pray to God and touch wood. Oh, I think the table's wood, not the IKEA sideboard that I got off Facebook. The table's definitely wood. Yeah, touch wood, that I'll still be around to enjoy a time when I no longer have to work, because work is stressful. I think as you get older, you hate change. I hate change. And it's a really hard job. Dealing with customers day in, day out is not easy, whether that's in a face-to-face retail situation or whether it's over the phone like myself, because even phone calls when people are really, really horrible, have you saying to your manager, I need to take 5 minutes because you feel like utter SHIT, basically. Yeah, they can make you feel really horrible, people. And the changes at work are just constant. In November of 23, we all got moved to different departments. The department we were in was becoming extremely small. And me and one other girl, we had to do our training for the new department in a week's intensive training, and everybody else got 2 weeks training. And I felt like I was wading through treacle. We got up to Christmas, I had some annual leave, went back to work. I was only back a few days, and then I lost my mum. So I had time off there. Then I went back to work for a bit, and then I had time off for the funeral. Just a day either side in the actual funeral day. And my manager at the time was really, really good, really sympathetic. I was paid in full for all of that time. But I'd had so many gaps when I was just getting used to working in the new department, and then I was back again feeling like I was wading through treacle for a long time. I could have thrown the towel in any day. I really could have. We've had so many new systems. I think I've had 4 managers in 3 years. Every single day something has changed. We get a new brief about something. We sell so many products. We have to deal with so many amendments. Things are always changing. We've had a new phone system. We've had new laptops. You know, everything has changed. And it's not been easy. And it would have been easier to leave, because the stress levels on occasion have been extremely high, and the thought of starting work in the morning for many months completely filled me with dread. So yeah, it's not an easy job, and of course in the whole company, positions like mine are the lowest paid. So yeah, you're not paid your worth in a contact centre, that's for sure. And of course it's got its benefits, because I work from home. I don't have transport costs or anything like that. I don't have to go out all weathers. So of course it's definitely got its positive side to it, but on the whole, in comparison with how it's been for the last few years, yeah, if I could retire sooner than planned, that would be the absolute dream. So I'm going to wrap it up here, because we're on 27 minutes. And yeah, I'll be back next Sunday with more money chat. Let me know what your thoughts are, not just on what I've spoken about, but your plans for the future. You know, have you got all your ducks in a row? Is it something you need to look at? Would you like to retire earlier and, you know, put plans in place to do so? Are you in a position to put plans in place to do so? You know, I'd love to have your thoughts on it. And also, yeah, don't come for me over my sinking funds, please. They're the same sinking funds as I've had for years. So, yeah, I do need to look at it. But I just think I'm going to be spending money on those things anyway. You know, if I run out of lipstick, I'm going to buy a new lipstick. If I run out of hair conditioner, I'm going to buy a new hair conditioner. And you've got to have a bit of a life. Like I said, in a month, I hardly do anything. But if I'm meeting a friend for a coffee, I want to be able to say, yes, I can. Or go for lunch, yes, I can do that. Because there's little joy, you know, to be had in the mundane day-to-day life, isn't there? Same with holidays. You work all year, why shouldn't you have a holiday? And I know that people, you know, really can't afford to do it. There are people in debt, you know, drowning in debt, don't know which way to turn with it. Of course, I get that totally. And that's what's just kind of, I suppose, made me think about my priorities after putting out last Sunday's video. So It might seem like a load of waffle. It might seem like I'm not making sense. I'm sure I'm not, but somewhere in here, I kind of am to myself, and just thought I would share that with you. So thank you for watching. Don't forget, leave me a comment. It would be amazing if you could like and also subscribe to my channel, because that £65 might begin to grow if you do. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you on Wednesday with my first veg box and what I've done with it. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.